What kind of genre of video game do you find yourself playing most often? What games from that genre do you play most?
Well, it's changed over the years. I guess I would say right now, mainly a lot of action type games. Zelda's always been a great one. There's Assassin's Creed 1 and 2. We also have, what else do we have? We have Fear, Resident Evil. Very good games. I enjoy them.
Would you say that video games have ever influenced your behavior? If so, how so? If not, why not?
I think the only time video games have ever influenced myself was growing up. I would kind of gravitate towards other students that played video games along with me. So I think my group of friends could be based upon our similar understanding of games and, our likes and dislikes. But I think that'd be the case with any sort of hobby.
Who do you think is more likely to be engaged socially later in life? A non-gamer, a casual gamer, or a heavy gamer? A heavy gamer being anywhere between 5 to 8 hours of gameplay in any one sitting, and why?
I think probably the best is always the middle of the road. I think a casual gamer is going to have the most active social life for a couple of reasons. True versus someone that doesn't play games at all, they'll be outside more. But as you see now, as the years go on, there are a lot more people. Gaming has really expanded to almost the entire youth population, especially with online games, all that sort of stuff. I know there's Modern Warfare 2, very popular, and that's a way to communicate with your friends as well. However, everything has to be taken in moderation, and I feel that you can enjoy your games, you can have a healthy social life with that because your friends are playing it as well. Yes, that's another commonality between the two of you, three of you, however large your group is, but you also want to be able to go out and not just have that the only facet of your life.
What sort of video games did you play when you were younger, and how did you act? Or did you feel that you were influenced by those games?
Again, growing up, I played a lot of action games. Zelda was really big back in those days. Didn't really play any sports games, so it was primarily you have your action, you have your strategy, some RPGs, played that, and I really don't think it affected me whatsoever. I would know when to play, when not to play, when to hang out with friends, when to just stay home and relax and enjoy a game.
Can you name at least one game in which the main character was either female or a minority and wasn't stereotypical? If so, what game?
I actually can't think of a game, to be perfectly honest with you.
We've gotten that response.
The closest game I could... Maybe Joanna Dark from Perfect Dark, which was an old N64
I remember
game.
that one.
That's really the only one.
So moving forward, in a patriarchal society, is it ethical to represent males or females in such a stereotypical fashion? Does this representation negatively socialize people into gender roles?
I think it does, because a lot of times in these games you'll see the main character as a male, a non-minority male, and I think all that does is further solidify the gender roles that we may have consciously or unconsciously placed in our society.
Why is it easier to represent both males and females in these negative stereotypes rather than representing a more positive and reinforcing role?
I think people are used to it. I think people are used to seeing the guy in the strong role and the woman maybe as a secondary role. History classes, history in general, not history classes, but history in general, you learn that throughout most of society, it's a patriarchal society that is in power, and I think it's just so ingrained in us that when people come and decide to make these games, they just kind of follow that stereotypical pattern. Do I think it's right? Do I think it's wrong? I think it would be better if there were games out there that that included minorities, that included women in more powerful roles to kind of break away at those barriers, and only time can tell with that.
So to conclude, why is it easier to portray a predominantly white cast as characters in video games? Even with other minorities appearing in games, many represent racial stereotypes. Do you think that this socialization is intentional or subconscious?
I honestly think it's subconscious. I think maybe I'm an optimist. I don't think we live in such a stereotypical society where we're knowingly saying, I don't want this guy to be my friend because of his color. I think we're very beyond that times, and I see it here at Prep every day. I see a whole bunch of minorities, everyone just intermingling with each other and having a fun time. Now, do I think game developers are, very stereotypical consciously? No, I don't think so. I think that what it could just boil down to is what sells the most, and subconsciously the types of games with your strong male non-minority character sell the best for whatever reason, which I'm not too sure. I think that they could do a great job selling games by moving into minorities, having someone, a main character that's Spanish, that's African. I don't really see color, so I don't see personally how that could hurt or help a game, but at the very least it will help break down those barriers that still exist in that industry.
All right, well, thank you for your time, Mr. Settembrino.
Oh, you're welcome.